Here we go, 8.2, multiplying, dividing, and it should say simplifying rational expressions. So we have fractions with variables in them. The number 20 out of the book asks you to simplify. Remember, this is a very factoring heavy section, and actually a couple of sections coming up. So we're first going to try to factor the top and the bottom. If I factor x squared minus 36, that's a difference of 2 squares. It factors to x plus 6 times x minus 6 over, factor the bottom. Two numbers that multiply to 36 and add to negative 12 are negative 6 and negative 6. And if you have any factors that match on the top and the bottom, those cancel. So the x minus 6's cancel, and it simplifies to x plus 6 over x minus 6. I believe this problem might also say to list any values of x that are not in the domain. So anything that would make the bottom 0. Positive 6 would make the bottom 0. So x cannot equal 6. 6 is not in the domain. Number 24 is multiplying. There's nothing that you can factor in these. These are all just monomials, one term each. So I can't simplify, or I can't factor anything. You can factor, or excuse me, you can simplify or cancel anything if there's one on the top and one on the bottom. So for example, I can simplify, cancel out the y and the y. There's a y on top and a y on bottom. Those I can cancel, but I also can cancel if they're in different terms and still in the top and the bottom. So I could cancel this x with that x, or I could cancel this x with one of these. Or you could multiply them all out first, multiply the bottom all out first, and then simplify at the end, which may be easier. So if we go that route, coefficient 1 times coefficient 1 times coefficient 3. 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. If I multiply the x's together, x to the second times x to the first. When we multiply, we add exponents, so that's up to x to the third. And y to the, should we pretend that we didn't cancel those two? Let's say we didn't cancel those. Y to the 1, and then another 5 is y to the 6th. If you do it this way, you're only going to have to simplify or cancel things out one time. In the denominator, coefficients 4 times 6 times 1 is 24. X's, you have x to the first and x to the fourth. Add exponents, that's x to the fifth. And the y's, just this one that, remember, we're going to act like we didn't cancel before. We're going to do it the other way. Y to the first. So we're going to simplify the coefficients. 3 over 24 reduces to 1 over 8. So I have an 8 on the bottom. These 3 x's cancel out 3 from the bottom. So these are all gone. And 3 of these are gone, which means that I have 2 x's left, x to the second. And then with the y's, there are more on top, so the 1 that's on the bottom will cancel out 1 of these on the top, and I'll be left with 5 up there, so y to the fifth on top. And of course, you do not need the 1 as a coefficient, so you could just write it as y to the fifth over 8x to the second. The second two, 28 or 26 and 28. 26 is multiplying. These are, there's a trinomial, and then binomials on the bottom. So I am going to try to factor these first. And I already did it ahead of time, so I wouldn't do it on film. This one becomes x minus 4, x plus 2. And then the bottom, that's a difference of 2 squares. So 3x plus 4 and 3x minus 4. The right-hand side factors into 3x plus 4 times x plus 2. And hopefully the factoring review that we did yesterday is going to be coming in helpful about now. The bottom is a difference of 2 squares. It factors x plus 4, x minus 4. So like I was telling you on the last one, you can factor, or you can cancel if there's one on the top and one on the bottom. They don't have to be from the same one. So I can factor, there's an x minus 4 here, that's on top. I can cancel this x minus 4 that's on the bottom, way over there. Those cancel, and then I also, each term has a 3x plus 4, one on top, one on bottom, so those cancel. The x plus 2's do not cancel because both of those are on the top. There's not one left on the bottom. So you can write this out as, there are two of them. You could write x plus 2 times x plus 2 or x plus 2 squared over, on the bottom you have a 3x minus 4 and an x plus 4 left on the bottom. So you could, sometimes the books will distribute this out, sometimes they'll just leave it like that, and I think this book left that answer like that. Last one is division. So we are going to turn all division problems into a multiplication problem, and it will be exactly like number 26 that we just did. So I'm going to, again, factor all of these that I can. 4x squared and then the bottom also factors. So I'm going to do two steps at the same time on this one. I'm going to factor, the bottom doesn't factor, but the top I can factor out a GCF, a greatest common factor. I can take an x. But I'm also going to change it into a multiplication problem by flipping the second fraction. So this will be 2x plus 1 will be on the top now, and then x squared plus 4x will be on the bottom, but I'm going to factor that x out. So I get x plus 4. And look for things to cancel. The 2x plus 1s will cancel. The 4x plus 3s will cancel. One on bottom, one on top, one on top, one on bottom. And now on top I have an x plus 3. And on the bottom, these two are both gone. I have an x and an x plus 4.